you don't come off to me as confrontational like we see some other media personalities, but have you ever had media beef?
I think with the NFL,
Wow.
I think I've reserved all of my energy, just with them blackballing Colin. I think for me, it's always been like systemic things that I've always had more issues with, like in that regard. But like media beefs, I don't really, what are we going to argue about? Like, my opinions are my opinions. You might not like them, but at the end of the day, my opinions is not going to hinder you from
Right.
eating, sleeping, and all these great things that your life has. But I think for me, not only time, I'm sure there's been, but I would say in recent years, it's like the NFL, right?
Yeah, but Nessa, here's the thing. My question is, when you had to stand up for what you felt was wrong with the entire Colin situation in the NFL, is it because you experienced that type of systematic problem with your own career, or is it because he's your significant other and you just felt the need to be vocal about what you saw being done that was wrong?
I think both. So for me, knowing that systemic racism exists, it exists,
It
right?
exists,
Obviously,
100%.
different ways of how it's perpetuated. We see it happen all the time.
100%.
Before meeting Colin, like I went to UC Berkeley. I don't know how much like knowledge you know on like California schools and universities, but UC Berkeley is in Berkeley next to Oakland, where, social movements have been birthed out of.
That's right.
So for me, I have always been connected to it. I cared about it. Being a lawyer, wanting to help people,
Right.
like me wanting to see people do good
Right.
is all, and really taking a step to do what needs to happen has always been in me. Now it's just, I'm really lucky to do what I do, to give back the way I do, but meeting someone who gets it. And so when I met Colin, it was just a matter of like us enhancing one another and like what we do. But I think it's a combination of both, because it's like, okay, so we know racism is bad. We know that police brutality is bad. We see it happening, right? And so when you have someone who's peacefully protesting against it and then being punished for it, you're perpetuating everything that you're saying either you don't believe or you do believe, right? Because now you're painting end racism in the end zone.
Right.
So which one is it?
Right.
So I think for me, now we add another layer. Oh, it's the hypocrisy behind it, right? So it's like a
You
sandwich.
saw the politics behind the whole thing.
I saw the politics. And I think for me, I think I was naive in it. I just really think I saw things from a lens of like, well, of course that's wrong. We should all care.
Right.
And I think that was naive on my part, realizing that everybody's going to care.
And this has always spoken just in an unjust room. Like she will always speak up for everyone around her. She might not do the best speaking up for herself.
Doesn't always come out great. Doesn't always come out great, guys.
I've gotten people that hated on me, and before I could even say anything, Nessa is like, nope, that's not what we're gonna do.
Right. She'll pick on you, but if anyone else picks on you,
it's a problem.
Right.
I got it.
It's a problem.
I'm the same way.
100%. And she will always stand up for what she knows is right. So,
Right.
I think that's always been Nessa.
So I think it's like the multiple layers of it. And then it's just the audacity to double down and do that to him. It was just, what?
Did that rock your world?
It changed everything for us. Like, I mean, Katrina was there firsthand. I mean, be it death threats, be it just the unease of like life, right? But take death threats out. Seeing Colin do something that he has earned, right? He's been playing football since he was 8 years old. And to see that he's gone to the Super Bowl, he's gone to 2 NFC championship games back to back. Like, we're talking about such a small percent of someone with his talent, the 4th black quarterback to ever play in the Super Bowl, right? That people,
a world-class athlete.
And to see that be taken from him because he did something, because he cares about other people. And that's what he said.
Yeah.
He said it time and time again. Like, look at the privilege that I have. Look what I'm doing. This isn't for me. He's saying it literally time and time again. And I felt like, why couldn't he have done both? Why couldn't he have cared and said, hey, we have a problem here that needs to be addressed and I'm going to use my platform. At the same time, hey, I'm still a football player who has a career that's earned it. So I think seeing all of that was really just heartbreaking. Like, it was just,
Right.
I know how much he loves football. He still gets up every day at 4:30, he still trains, he still tries to contact his team, and it's the same responses. And he's just not, he's very opposite of me. He's okay. You think what you think about him.
Right.
He's at peace because he knows what he did is right.
He seems like such a peaceful
Oh
man.
my
Super
God.
zen.
And me, I'm like, you're not,
Right, you're not raging? You're not losing your
And he's
mind?
he's like, I know what I did. I know why I did it. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, hey, let's go fight. And he's like, you know how I fight? I get up, I get ready, and I'm hoping for that opportunity to open. I'm like, God, why are you such a good person? I hate this right now.
Right.
But, I've learned much along the way, but him working so hard for his career, and I love what I do so much.
Right.
I can't imagine somebody taking that away from me. And maybe that's also part of it, right? Like, I'm like, oh my God, like how,
I have a question.
Yeah.
In hindsight, do you think he could have handled it in a different way that would have got the result he wanted and not the results that he didn't want?
I've thought long and hard about it. I think what was stacked against Colin, he was the first at this time in this specific league. I don't think anything he could have done that would have stopped them from blackballing him.
Right.
He peacefully protested. He was sitting behind a cooler.
100%.
Nobody even knew he was protesting until the third preseason game.
Until the media really
Till the
jumped on it.
media got in. So if we never knew, I didn't know till the media. That's a fun fact nobody
What, he
ever
never
knows.
said anything to you about...
No.
He never said, like, babe, I'm going to go...
No, not. I'm working in New York. I'm at Hot 97 with Katrina. Colin is playing for the 49ers. I don't see preseason games, so I wouldn't know one way or another.
Okay.
So Colin is on his own. He's watching how things are happening, right? I think at this time, Alton Sterling gets killed. It's a brutal summer with police brutality is happening. And Colin at this point has already, been reading more, like, off season. And he's just kind of like, you want to evolve in life. That's the key. So he's just, and now it's happening. And look, social media at this time, things are heightened more. We're seeing it more.
Right.
And I didn't know till
There
the
was
media.
no conversations.
None. Katrina, you heard the conversation.
I was there when he called her and was like, hey, so
I was like,
a reporter saw me do something today. So what? What'd you do?
Yeah, I was like, not even thinking of it. And he was like, oh yeah, I was just sitting there.
I was just sitting.
And
a reporter asked me about.
Yeah,
But he didn't hint like, oh, this is going to be something.
No, he actually didn't think it was. Like, literally, the next day I had a backpack giveaway, and it was in South Bronx. And
Crazy.
he just, I was going about my day, and he told me that. And he was like, yeah, the reporter came up to me and just asked. It was so very... hey, that's it.
This happened.
This happened. And then, like, we move on in the conversation. Like, oh, okay, well, what does that mean? Like, okay, all right. Colin's not thinking it's going to be what it turned into at all.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
Our lives changed that next morning once the media was out. It's never been the same since. So I think for me, I'm always rooting for, like, in general, just the underdog. So seeing that with Colin, and I know media.
Right.
And I
you
know
are media.
Right. And I feel like, okay, so we have a moment in our life right now to take the right side of history that's going to be documented for the rest of our lives.
100%.
What side do we want to be on? Not just because it's like document. It's the right side. Whatever I feel, whatever I say, I'm going to stand on it. So I think it's never been the same. And that's the power of media and like work. And like I said, could I make more money? Could I do this? All I had to do was like exploit Colin or our relationship.
Right.
I never did. I never have. And it all goes back to like, what do you want to do in life? How hard do you want to work? And, when you and your wife decide like, hey, maybe Ian, you need to slow down a bit. Maybe I don't see that happening for you, but you'll be like, you know what? What all the work I've done, what does it mean to this point? Where do I stand?
Scary questions.
It's a big question.
Scary.
And I think Colin just fast forwarded.
He was already evaluating those things.
That's right.
I'm going to make a prediction. I think Colin will end up being a head coach on a
Really?
professional team. Yeah, 100%. I do.
I
Either a
hope so.
professional team or at a very big college
Right.
university. He has way too much knowledge, experience.
Yeah.
He knows he's just so good at what he does. And he has this outer world experience that no one else has.
Absolutely.
That puts him in a very good position to take on a leadership role. I would love to see him play, but
that makes me happy. Wait, say it again, Ian. Hold on.
I would love to see him play.
Oh,
I really would.
My heart.
I feel I can't for the life of me understand why not one NFL team has even from a business standpoint.
Yes.
Forget everything else. Forget absolutely everything else. Why hasn't a single NFL team put him in a jersey, even if he's not going to play? It would be the biggest ticket sale that the NFL has seen ever.
Yes.
So it doesn't make any sense to me in that regard. But I don't know enough about it not about his situation. I support what he did, but also I don't understand what politics are behind it that aren't made public, right? And I'll double down. I really do believe that if not playing, he would be a amazing addition and value add to any NFL team as a coach or a university.
Right.
And I know it'll happen. That's just a matter of time.
Man, you made my heart happy. I'm very sensitive. Oh my God. But it really means a lot because, Katrina knows this. When you're in it, it feels like it's dark.
Oh.
Right? Like it feels like, oh my gosh,
it's nonstop.
It's not
when the media's on you.
It's it. That's it. They're on you.
And it's this weird looking over your shoulder thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, what is gonna happen? Where does the cookie crumble? Where does everything land?
Right.
Because it feels like there's so much on you. And I can't imagine for the reasons
you're right
that you and Colin were under it for, but it's just this uncomfortable feeling.
Oh, all day.
I couldn't imagine what was going on behind closed doors in terms of dynamic conversations. I mean, what an interesting, unique thing that you guys went through.
Yeah.
And I give you a lot of credit because you handled it with such class. You guys handled it with class. You and Colin handled it with class. But you guys handled it with class in the media.
Right. We tried our best.
And you were a warrior. Like you weren't afraid.
Nah. And you know what? Bridges have been burned and I'm okay with that. And that's okay.
Sometimes you have to burn things down to rebuild bigger.
That's right. And
that's okay.
And I'm so okay with it.
Hell
I look back, I told Katrina, hey man, sorry, I probably could have got you a house if I, Colin losing out on over $150 million on his contract. These things are real life.
That's real life.
It's real life.
Like he was making decisions
generational
wealth decisions.
Yes.
And he had to question, is this about money or is this about the things I believe in? And because of that, I respect his character.
Yeah.
People don't have to agree with what he did, but most of those people that disagree have not been faced with the decisions that he had, which is like, I can continue on this professional baller path.
Right.
And change my family's future.
And my friends and everyone around me.
And not to say that he still won't. I mean, and that's where I think he is an elite person, is that some people, all they have is that thing.
Right.
And then other people believe in themselves so much and know their strengths that they're going to end up doing it tenfold, maybe doing something else.
Right.
And I believe for Colin, that's still to come.
Oh,
that's cool.
You made my heart so happy. And I told Colin I was going to have this conversation with you. And Colin, he's so supportive. He's like, oh, great. So what are you guys going to talk about? And I was like, well, this is like, it's about you. And I was telling him about all the stuff that you do. And he was like, you can maybe get some wisdom. Because I think for me, I'm always the wisdom person in the room. Sorry, Katrina. But,
cool.
I'm the go-to.
I push the buttons.
I'm the go-to person. He's like, oh, this is going to be good for you. I know. Like, I love hustler energy.
Hell yeah.
And it's really hard to come across that. Like,
and we're like these we're like the unicorns in the room, and we're like stand out, and people think we're annoying and weird and too aggressive. It's my Aries energy. It's just like I constantly want to go. I'm constantly optimistic and shooting for something higher.
Yes.
And I don't know what it is. I can't help it.
I don't know what it is.
I can't stop it.
I don't know. And I'm going to keep going.
Hell yeah.